What's up, everybody? This is John Gaskins from the Gaskins and Stevens Show on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. The topic du jour for the last few weeks now has been who's going to replace Doc Sadler as Nebraska's coach. It seems a little disingenuous at times because Doc Sadler is still the head coach, but let's just say pretty much everybody's acknowledged that there's a distinct possibility that it's just not working out. And there's been a lot of names that have been tossed around. We've been spending a significant amount of time on our shows with all kinds of guests and our own opinions as to what kind of coach Nebraska should have and who should be the guy. And everybody wants to keep throwing out mid-majors on the up and coming. Nebraska's done that 3 times in a row with Danny Nee, Barry Collier, and Doc Sadler. It's worked out with Nee, and some would dispute that it wasn't the best, but 4 NCAA tournaments in a row, plus another one in '98. With Collier and Sadler, for some reason, it hasn't worked out. And it's time for Nebraska to get a splash hire of some sort and of some substance. There's 3 names that I would go with. The first one would be Scott Spinelli. Now, this is probably the safest of the 3 hires. He's never been a head coach, but he's been an assistant at Nebraska, and he's an assistant in an ACC program in Maryland right now. He's known as a Bulldog recruiter. He liked his time at Nebraska, and he's got really good connections on the East Coast and the AAU. That's good pockets of talent. That'd be a nice, safe hire. And for Tom Osborne, it would be rather inexpensive. And as we all know, Doc Sadler's buyout is going to be really expensive. Another name that has been thrown out there a lot, and he's helped us out by saying he would be happy to be our head coach in Nebraska, that's Eric Strickland. And the former Husker has never coached before, but he played in the NBA for 9 years. He played in some of the best teams of the Danny Nee era at Nebraska, and if you've listened to him on our show or any others, you know he has genuine passion for the school. He would not consider this a stepping stone. It would be basically the equivalent of Osborne hiring Darren Erstad as the baseball coach, a guy who just wants to give something back to the program and thinks he can do it, and everything he does will be genuine. Everything he sells will be genuine. He's got connections in every major market in the country, so he says, to high schools, to reach out to talent, and he thinks he can bring it here and, of course, sell the vision and the new arena. And he's pretty sure, as a guy who graduated from Bellevue West in the Omaha area, he's going to bring in some of the top in-state talent, which is something Nebraska has lacked for quite some time. Problem with Eric is he has, again, never coached. How about a guy who has coached? He's coached a long time. He's been a head coach for about 20 years, and he has won big, at the big level. Not at the mid-majors, not just at the mid-majors, but at the big time. That's Larry Eustachy, the former Iowa State coach who's at Southern Mississippi. Larry won 2 Big 12 titles with Iowa State in his first 3 years. He won his first one with mostly Tim Floyd's players. But after losing Marcus Fizer, the Player of the Year, in 2000, the Cyclones came right back, got a couple transfers, and won it again with Larry Eustachy in the year 2001. We all know why things didn't end well for Larry at Iowa State. Getting caught with pictures with co-eds, drinking beer at a party, that's about the worst thing he's done. He's cleaned up his act. That's something Tom Osborne realizes. He hasn't had a drink in 9 years, and he's been the head coach at Southern Miss for 8. But John, he has only been to 1 NCAA tournament. That's probably going to be this year. How did it take him so long? Why would you want a guy that doesn't take teams to the tourney? Well, Southern Miss has won 19 or more games in 5 of his 8 years. 500 or better conference records in Conference USA 5 of the last 8 years. All mostly with shabby facilities because of Hurricane Katrina. It took them a while. They put their renovation plans for their facilities there, their practice facility, their locker rooms, their arena on hold. Now that they've had it for the last 2 or 3 years, they are rocking in Hattiesburg, Mississippi with Larry Eustachy. He's a guy that would be plenty hungry to come back to the big time and prove that he can do it, and he's done it in this area. I think he'd be up for the challenge. Only problem is style of play. He likes to play the slow-down, grinded-out defense that is ugly to watch, tough to play against, the same way Doc Sadler has prided himself at Nebraska. Do Husker fans want to go through more of that? They probably would if the Huskers could win. If you want a little bit more up-tempo and a little more fun, you're probably going to get better players, more talent with Eric Strickland and Scott Spinelli, but can those guys win, and are they experienced enough to win? I don't see any perfect candidates. But I see those 3 as probably the best 3 that can get some buzz going in this program. And if they don't win, so what? Nebraska hasn't been winning. They'll go out and find another coach in another 2 or 3 years. For 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com, I'm John Gaskins.